my scale, it's actually a 9.2.
9.2, guys, obviously on my boyfriend in particular. I think he enjoyed this fragrance. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video was something that was requested by a lot of my male type of viewership, so a lot of you gents out there did ask me to do more of a male fragrance type of video, so I thought I'd bring my partner Julian into this video. He won't be shown because obviously I'm a little bit more private that way, but you know, he has really great taste in fragrances. I've bought him quite a few fragrances in the past, so I feel like over the years of dating each other, I know him more and more in terms of like what notes he enjoys, what notes he doesn't enjoy. So in this video in particular, we're going to be showing 5 different fragrances which I think smell absolutely incredible on men in general, but obviously my boyfriend smells the best with them on. Most of these are more summer kind of based fragrances. Their note profile is more leaning towards citruses or aromatic fruity type of scents. So if that's something that you guys enjoy, then I think you'd really like this video. Please give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe below and we'll just jump straight into it. So the first fragrance that I have is called Parana from Bois 1920. If you guys watch my regular videos, I did feature this in my like vlog shopping type of video that I did recently. I did buy it ultimately to share with Julian because you know, it works really well on my skin, but also it's a little bit male leaning as well as a unisex fragrance. So this is predominantly a heavy citrus but very dry base. So in the beginning you have a really big note of bergamot, as well as some black currants as well. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on his arm. I don't want to spray too heavy because I want to have a good idea of how it smells like. So what's really lovely about this fragrance, it smells very similar to Hatchivat from Nishane, but much better quality in my opinion, because the bergamot, the blackcurrant, it's really rich and very fruity in the beginning, but then what makes it male leaning is it does end with like a vetiver oak moss base. So that's where you kind of get that woody dryness in the fragrance, and it works really well on his skin. I know a lot of females also wear it, but technically with it being more woody based, I think a lot of guys would actually really enjoy this fragrance. So yeah, if you're into aromatic, woody, citrusy type of fragrances, then you know, I would recommend that you guys give this a go. So out of 10, Julian, how much would you rate this one?
Around a 6.8.
6.8, okay.
Yeah, 6.8.
Guys, he's really particular when it comes to his fragrances, honestly. Like, he'll always give a very honest opinion out of 10, you know, how much he'd rate it. So yeah, we'll first start off with that one. So that's 6.8 out of 10.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, right, so the next fragrance that I have is one that Julian's already finished. I think he enjoyed this fragrance a bit, so, but we'll get to, you know, how much he scores it out of 10. So this one's called Ocean Leather by Memo Paris. I think a lot of you gents will know this fragrance. A lot of Memo Paris fragrances are based around leather, so I feel like they have Italian leather, French leather, Iberian leather, pretty much every type of leather kind of fragrance that you can imagine. This one's called Ocean Leather and it is a little bit more aquatic leaning. I don't actually know if there's any aquatic notes in here, but it's a very heavily citrus, slightly warm leather kind of fragrance. So in the beginning you definitely get quite a big note of mandarin orange, which gives it like that kick in the very beginning. It also has like this really lovely warmth. I wouldn't class this as a dry fragrance whatsoever. And that's coming from nutmeg. It gives like a little bit more spice to the fragrance, so it's not so one-dimensional. And the leather in here, it would be a little bit more masculine leaning. It's not as like suede or buttery, I would say. It's a more deeper type of leather. But it really gives this really like a nice, slightly animalic but still wearable type of quality to it. So overall, the main attributes of this fragrance is it's citrus heavy with that mandarin orange in the beginning, gives it a bit of lift, some vibrancy, also has a warmth and like a slight spice to it from the nutmeg, and then it's all grounded by a beautiful, very smooth leather note, which I think on guys in particular, on their skin, I think it works really, really well. It melds very well with their skin. So I'm just gonna spray again a little bit on Jules. We're gonna run out of arm space at this point, but I'm just gonna spray a bit there. Oh yeah, I really enjoyed that because it has like a sweetness as well from the nutmeg, and I think that is what makes it really unique. It's not like a typical dry leather fragrance. It definitely has like a bit more warmth and like a citrus aquatic type of, you know, vibe to it. So out of 10 Jules, how much would you rate this one?
I'd say this was a 7.8,
Okay,
around that region.
so higher than the
Yeah, definitely. I
Bois.
prefer it.
Okay,
Definitely.
okay, that's good to know. That's ocean leather, guys. A bit higher score than obviously the Parana fragrance. I think because Jules has worn this fragrance quite a bit, I think it's melded quite well with his skin. So yeah, we'll just jump on to the next fragrance. So the next fragrance that I have is from a brand called Atelier Cologne. Now, this isn't Jules's first Atelier Cologne fragrance. He's also had Californian Clementine, which I remember you enjoyed that one quite a bit.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Would you say you enjoyed that more than this one?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this was the second one that he's had from Atelier Cologne. And what Atelier Cologne are really, really great for is they specialize in really like developing one particular note, the main attribute within the fragrance. It really shines in the fragrance. And this one in particular obviously features the note of orange, and it does it very, very well. This is probably one of the best fruity fragrances I've tried. And obviously more leaning towards men, but also women can wear this, but I would say it's a bit more masculine leaning. So with this particular fragrance, obviously it's called Orange Sanguine, but it's very heavy on the orange. So it has mandarin orange in the beginning, some blood orange. I feel like the blood orange gives it a little bit more of like a bitterness in the beginning, which is really lovely. Alongside that, you also have some floral touches. So you have some geranium, which gives it like this sticky, jammy quality. Geranium can be a little bit similar to rose in many aspects, and I think it pairs really, really well with the orange here, especially the blood orange, giving it like a bit more of a sweety, juicy tartiness. And then towards the base, you do have some other notes as well. You almost have like a clean musk running throughout it. I don't know whether that's actually listed in the notes, but I wouldn't say this is too like woody leaning. It almost has like a bit of an aquatic freshness to it as well. Maybe it might have ambergris in the base. But overall, this fragrance is just super sweet, very fruity, invigorating. So perfect for the summer if you do want to smell a little bit more edible, almost going a little bit gourmand. So I'm going to just spray a little bit on Jules again. I'm going to spray this side now. Waft and do its thing. Yeah, I think on Jules, let me... You see, on Jules, it's funny, it goes a little bit boozy and even sweeter on Jules' skin, and I think that's why I really enjoy it.
Like a liqueur.
Yeah, like an orange liqueur. It's like Cointreau, isn't it?
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
I would say. Like, you know, that orange, blood orange type of liqueur. It's really beautiful, and I would say it's probably one of my favorites from the fragrances that he's had, but we'll come on to favorites more towards the end of the video. But yeah, out of 10, how much would you rate that one?
Around 7.5, maybe a little bit more, but I can be quite stringent with my ratings.
Yeah,
so.
that's fine. I mean, you said you like Californian Clementine more, don't you?
Yeah, I'd say just slightly. So
Yeah.
there's a bit more to it than this. However, this kind of has that really fresh opening note of orange.
Yeah, it's honestly, guys, it just smells unreal. That orange is so realistic. It's fruity, it's beautiful, it's sweet. So yeah, that's a good score from Jules. So we'll go to the next fragrance. Right, guys, so the next fragrance that we have is from the house of Hermes. And Hermes have some really fantastic, classy fragrances for men. Even at the price points, I think they're probably one of the best designer fragrances for men in general. There's some timeless, you know, fragrances that they offer. This is my favorite out of their, you know, range that I got for Julian. And then since then, he has bought another bottle and he's worn it quite regularly. So this is called Eau de Merveilles Bleu. And there's originally Eau de Merveilles, which is more of an ambery, like sweeter, woodier type of fragrance, but this is the Bleu version. So this isn't Eau de Toilette, it's not an Eau de Parfum. And I find it really interesting because with it being an EDT, you would imagine that it doesn't last very long, or it's, you know, less high quality in that regard, but it's not like that whatsoever. I would almost say that this performs sometimes even better than a lot of my perfumes in my collection. So even with it being an eau de toilette, we both noticed that it had like really good longevity. Even the quality of the materials, you could tell that it was a really beautiful fragrance. I don't know why I just tried to pull the cap off, that's so silly. It just comes like this. I think it does come with like a cap that you pop on the top, but essentially it just leans like this, which I think is quite cool. So in terms of like, I don't know, the packaging itself, I think it's quite lovely. So I'm gonna just spray this again on Jules. I think we're gonna let that waft and do its thing. Oh yeah, that's a big yes from me. I would say, oh, I don't know. I love a lot of these fragrances, but this one, because he's worn it so often, I think I've gotten used to how beautiful it is. It's definitely a very heavy citrus fragrance, and you know, with it being Eau de Merveilles Bleu, it's very aquatic leaning, so you definitely get like this ozonic, mineralistic touch. It sounds silly. I know a lot of people like discuss this in Fragcom about sea salt notes and stuff like that, the fact that you can't actually make that in perfumery, but genuinely you do get like this mineralistic, sea salty kind of quality to it.
Smells like the coast.
Yeah, it literally smells like the coast, guys, with it having like heavy citruses, almost like you're going down like the Amalfi Coast or something, right? Yeah, it's really beautiful. So with it having like a very citrus heavy opening, it's very fresh, sea mineralistic ozonic notes, and it's grounded by patchouli as well. And that patchouli gives it a slight greenness, but not too heavy, damp. You know, sometimes patchouli can go a little bit strange, a little bit chocolatey. It doesn't have that type of nuance whatsoever. I would say it's just a very simple aquatic, not spicy, not dry, heavy citrus leaning fragrance. And I just think it's really beautiful, really great quality. And yeah, and out of 10, how much would you rate that one?
So this is actually one of my favourite fragrances, so it's up there. But again, I'm pretty stringent, so it's about an 8.8 on my scale.
Okay, guys, that's high. I mean, price-wise, I would say it's pretty...
It's relatively affordable in comparison to some of the others.
And I would say, would you say it lasts a long time as well?
Yeah. Definitely the larger bottle has lasted me quite some time.
That's the rating, guys. So, you know, for Jules, I think that's fairly high, which is great. So we'll move on now to the next fragrance. Right, so the next and last fragrance that we have out of this entire selection is from Tom Ford. You guys know I absolutely love Tom Ford, not so much because they tend to discontinue a lot of fragrances. I talked about this in my last video, like Champagne Absolute, they've discontinued that one. They've discontinued Plum Japonais, and it's a shame because I tend to find the better quality type of Tom Ford fragrances get discontinued, so I really hope that they won't discontinue. Sorry guys, the camera just died. I was just saying that I really hope they don't discontinue this one because it's a really beautiful fragrance, and this is out of their more fresher line, so they have a lot of fresh type of fragrances in this particular line. So they have Mandarino di Amalfi, Neroli Portofino, Flor de Portofino. This one's called Sole di Positano, and it's an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. This again is a very heavy citrus fragrance, but what makes it very special, it's also heavy in white florals. In particular, the jasmine in here, in my eyes, really shines. And with jasmine, it has like different nuances. Jasmine can be a little bit more indolic, and you definitely get like a bit of a indolic freshness from the jasmine. Almost has like the same vibe as Jasmine Rouge from Tom Ford. You guys know, I mean, that's a female fragrance, but I know a lot of guys would have tried that fragrance. This is technically unisex leaning, so both men and women can wear it. But personally, I feel like on Jules' skin, with him being a guy, I think it smells even better than, say, on my skin, for example. So I'm just gonna spray on the last bit of skin that we have left. Gonna let that do its thing. Oh yeah, that's really beautiful. It's so green. It has like this bitter greenness in the top, but it's not like a grassy green whatsoever. It's just super fresh and invigorating, and that's mainly coming from the neroli. Neroli is quite similar to bergamot and lemon and different citruses, but the difference being it has like a green petitgrain type of quality to it, so automatically it makes the fragrance a little bit more aromatic, a bit fresher and greener, and I absolutely love it. And then towards the mid of the fragrance, you have that heavy jasmine and some other white florals like tiare flower. It's really beautiful, lovely blend of citruses and then heavy buttery white florals. Almost gives it like a little bit of a tropical creaminess to the overall fragrance. So I think it's super wearable. Obviously in the summer it's a little bit better than say for the winter or autumn, but I would say even the projection, the sillage, the performance seems to be really great on this fragrance. The only issue being is that it is a little bit high priced, so you know, if you were to buy, I don't know, like the 100ml, you'd be paying about 250 quid, which is a little bit pricey, but you know, if you have the money for it and if it is in your budget, then I would say definitely give it a go. Out of 10, Jules, how much would you give this one?
So I'd actually say this is probably my all-time favourite fragrance. So on my scale, it's actually a 9.2.
9.2, guys, pretty high. Yeah, that's your highest rating, isn't it, out of all of the fragrances?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jules loves this one, and I actually agree with him. I think on his skin, it just smells really, really incredible. There's just something that it does, maybe with it having that slightly white floral type of mid, maybe that's what works really well on his skin. But overall, it's just a really beautiful, fresh citrus, white floral, slightly aquatic type of fragrance. So yeah, that's Sole di Positano from Tom Ford. So guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I have to thank Jules for actually being in the video. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking, you know, being on video and in front of everyone, but I just thought because he has like a lot of experience when it comes to fragrances as well and wearing them, and I bought some of the fragrances for him too, it would just be nice having him on camera and like kind of giving you guys his scores out of 10 for these particular fragrances. They're all beautiful summer fragrances, and honestly, if you gents have not tried any of these, I would really recommend that you give them a go. And as I said, please give this video a like, subscribe down below. I am hoping to possibly do more men's type of fragrances in the future. Obviously I might not own the bottles, but I will be probably getting samples and different things, so at least then I can give you guys a better idea of different fragrances that I like on men, obviously on my boyfriend in particular. And maybe we might do like a winter autumn version of this video. Maybe this is like the summer version and then there'll be like a later autumn winter version. But anyway guys, I really hope that you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye guys.